Cherry, I hope you are doing well. I'm super gassed to check out Minecraft's latest update with you guys, the Garden Awakens today. This update is the new Pale Garden biome and everything within it. There are also a few things of interest that have changed, but we'll check those out later. Here in the brand new Pale Garden, we have so much to check out. I've got some really interesting things I found and some things that you might find useful to know and some handy game mechanics too. The first thing on our list is of course the biome itself. I've done another video on where to find this biome. We obviously have all sorts of new items like the new wood, blocks, new doors, trapdoors, fences, new flora, new ambience and mobs. There's a lot to get into in today's video, so I'm just gonna go and the actual update is the 1.2150. We're going to be checking this out on a Bedrock drop, just because I feel like that's probably what's most popular and what everybody plays. To begin with, we're going to check out the new mob, the Creaking. This is definitely the most interesting thing in the new drop. With its cool design, sketchy movements, it's a very welcomed addition to the game. While running around in Bedrock, checking out a few patches of Pale Garden in my hardcore world, might I add, I noticed none were spawning. The rarity rate of the Creaking Heart is said to be common. I did notice there was a bug in a previous beta version on Bedrock. The spawning rates were a little bit lower than Java. It's a shame going to the biome only to not be able to find the coolest thing you want in it. Let me know if you guys have had any struggle to find the actual Creaking in your worlds. When you do find him, it's definitely wise to light up the surrounding area, especially dark oak forest, which will most likely be around you. The Creaking is not affected by light. This bad boy does 1.5 hearts of damage without any armor on normal mode, and like half a heart with armor, so he's not really that much of a threat on normal mode. But on hardcore mode, he does 2 hearts of damage without armor and 1.5 with full netherite, so that's definitely something to bear in mind. The more you attack the Creaking, the more you'll find the resin generating on the pale oak. You can gather this by tapping it off and collecting the resin clumps. You can do this over and over, so you can keep hitting the same Creaking, getting the resin clumps, and then going back and hitting the Creaking, collecting more resin clumps, go back and hit the Creaking, and then collect them again, and so over. Which is like super useful if you wanted to get a load of this resin, especially as they're a little bit rare to find these Creakings. They're definitely findable, just not as findable. Yeah, I was expecting them to be more common in the biome, guys, so maybe that's on me though. Back to where we were with the resin clumps. These resin clumps can be smelted in a furnace to get resin bricks, which can be used for building blocks and armor trim. I am absolutely loving the trim. It looks absolutely fire, guys. I've got a couple here that we can check out, and I just think they look so good. I put the flow armor trim on them, all of them, just to keep it unison and show everything. And yeah, I put it on like the most OG sets. It looks so good on the netherite. Absolutely obsessed. Within this biome, we've obviously got the pale oak wood, but I don't want to bore you guys with the basics. Hopefully I've still got your attention, because there's a few of the weirder things that I want to share with you, like the flora. We obviously have the eye blossoms, which are fire, but they come in 2 variations, open and closed. If you feed an open variation to a bee, it will poison it, which I thought was kind of interesting. You as the player can also ingest these flowers by cooking them into a stew. The recipe for this is a bowl, a brown mushroom, a red mushroom, and then a flower of your choice. There are other flowers that work with this, but we're only going to go and check out the eye blossoms. The open eye blossom flower will give you a fun blindness effect. This could be used for pranks on your mates, and it's just generally quite fun to test out. And the closed variation of the eye blossom will give you a nausea effect. This will make your screen a little bit wobbly and weird, a little bit like in Red Dead 2. They only last for a few seconds, so it's nothing too exciting. These fun little flowers also communicate to each other when it's time to open and close, so you could create a cool Coraline garden effect. And you can also find that when you put an eye blossom in a pot in your house, it will still activate. Perfect for when you're deep down in your cave base and you want to know when night looms. They're such a sick addition. These are definitely my second favorite thing about this drop. However, they do not change in the Nether, so forget about that cool Nether flower clock. Gutted. We also have here in this lovely pale garden hanging moss, obviously the trees, the moss carpets. We also have the grey pale moss blocks themselves. The carpets are super sick. I mentioned these in our last video. We can put these on pretty much anything you want and make them grow up anything you want. I absolutely love that. But between all of this flora, you can also have the wicked ambience of the pale garden back at your base. By placing hanging moss on pale oak wood and its leaves, you can have some of those sounds you hear within the forest. And by placing those cool eye blossoms on pale moss, you'll find that that also has an ambience to it as well. It's ever so slight, It is such a nice touch to be able to have at your base. I love that the devs have actually taken a step towards adding atmosphere and ambience, and by doing it with the blocks being the source. I can't wait to see what they do with this. Obviously, for a long time, when you place water, that has its own sound source with it. Then you place a water block and it has running water with it. So it only makes sense that this has been a mechanic that's really doable for the devs to put in. And so I really like that they're starting to use that a little bit more and play off that, and I really look forward to what they do with that. They could start to add, you know, parrot sounds in the jungle. There's just, there's so much that you could do with this. Yeah, and I really hope they look into those options. Just like the cherry trees, by placing the leaves of the pale oak, you can have the leaves falling wherever you place them. To plant yourself these trees, you'll have to get exactly 4 saplings to grow one. They're grown in the same way as their predecessor, the dark oak trees, in a 2x2 formation. Within the naturally generated pale oak trees, you'll find the Creaking Heart, but you will never be able to grow a pale oak tree that contains and has a Creaking Heart within it, which is a shame. That would have been pretty cool to be able to grow your own trees and have their own protectors come out with them, but it makes it a little bit too easy to get. The Creaking Heart also gives you ambient sounds, but you'll need to silk touch it to get it. They also drop about 20 to 24 XP points, which I thought was pretty useful and interesting. A couple of last fun facts for you is that you can't put a creaking in a boat, which kind of makes me sad. You can't put it on a rope, and you cannot make it go through a portal, which kind of sucks. But I do like that these forest creatures are stuck in the greenness of the overworld. It's definitely where they belong. I enjoyed using the portal to psych him out though, I shan't lie. Hopping half in and out of the portal and then hopping back out really kind of spins him out. He kind of like stops chasing you and then carries on again. And yeah, you can really see that he just will not follow me through that portal. I'd love a version of this creaking in the Nether, maybe in the Warped Forest or the Crimson, but one that protects the player, or at least tries. I feel like there's no mobs that really care about the player in the Nether. It would be nice to have a mob that is kind of rooting for you in there, and especially if it looked like a tree, something fun and safe and familiar from the overworld. I think that would be really cool. I did have a lot of fun messing around with these creakings though, and figuring out what they can and couldn't do. I don't want to bore you guys with the super basics of this biome, as I feel like every YouTuber is covering it. I just kind of wanted to cover the fun bits of it, like the suspicious stews and the creakings not going into the Nether and the eye blossoms, and yeah, just little things like that. I personally really enjoyed checking out. Go check out the other video I've made. I've also got a couple of shorts with some build ideas for using the pale wood and the resin, so feel free to check those out and scroll through my channel. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me here today. Hopefully I've kept your attention the whole way. If I have, maybe consider giving a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I appreciate everybody that does like and subscribe and already has. You guys are like class. Yeah, I really appreciate it. But for now though, we are out. It's been Cherry Controller. Thanks for joining, guys.